Coach Bailey here. I'm going to run you through some of the goal setting. I'm going to run you through in terms of the habits, how you can create your own daily habits, and some things that are going to suit you really well and assist you to get through the next 8 weeks, to get you through the next 8 months, and maybe through the next 8 years and the rest of your life. So we talked about, in terms of some of the things that we said, we know big achievements come one small advantage at a time, they come one step at a time, and they come one day at a time. So I didn't lose 22 kilos in a day. You guys aren't going to get all your best results in one day, but it's those daily disciplines, it's the daily wins that we do every single day specific to you as an individual is what's going to get you that best result overall. So I'm going to show you how I created them for myself, what they are, and how you can put them into practice with your training, with your life, and everything else if you want to be more successful. That's what served me really well and it's got me to here, and I want to pass them on to you guys. All right, so for you, you're sitting at home, maybe you're going through the challenge, but look, we're gonna run through a few different things here to get you that best result possible. So for those of you that have been with me before, we know my 6 steps. I'll run them through again in terms of, hey, if you want any goal, you want anything in life, you need to define exactly what it is that you want. So number one, you're gonna write down get a blank piece of paper, and you're gonna go, hey, what is it that I want? So number one, define what you want. So for me, I know, like, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I didn't want to be like that anymore. That's not what life is supposed to be like. So I defined that, hey, if I could wake up from Monday to Sunday and I could do anything, man, this is exactly what I'd want to do. So if you're at home and you've got a big piece of paper, this is what I did, and this is how I worked out to define exactly what I wanted. So hopefully you can read this. All right, so I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All right, here's just I'm a high school dropout, by the way, so just ignore my writing. Okay, so Monday through to Sunday. All right, so I had to define what I wanted. So the easiest way, sometimes we overcomplicate this, but the easiest way is to draw this out on a piece of paper, whether it's specifically now for what you're doing in fitness or anything you want to make a change. And then I was like, okay, Monday to Sunday, if I could do anything, if you could do anything, what would that look like? So an example for me to give you an idea, I was like, man, if I could just wake up every single day and I could train in a space and I could have my own space, man, that would be absolutely magical. That would be one of the most phenomenal things on the planet. And as you can see, we built that. We built a few of them, and we're fortunate enough to share it with you. But what do you want to do? You need to define what you want. So I like to use Monday to Sunday in terms of if you want to look at like a lifestyle philosophy or a lifestyle coach. But I go, hey, what do I want to do from Monday to Sunday? What does that look like? And then I started mapping that out. And I was like, hey, what time would I want to get up? What time do you want to get up? So I was like, hey, if I want to get up at 5 a.m., and I started structuring my ideal day, my ideal life. And I was like, okay, maybe I've got training here at 9:30, or I love to train at 6:30. So hey, I could do like my sessions here, work here, maybe I train. I dial it in to the very second. Remember, discipline equals freedom. And I do this on a weekly basis, a monthly, a yearly, and 3-4 years in advance. And that's super disciplined. But for you, if you're just starting out, maybe just doing it week to week, just so you've got an idea, and looking at all the time is really good. So defining, be very specific. So for me, I'm like, this is what I want to do here. This is what I want to do here. Hey, this time I want to do this. This is the time I'm going to go to sleep. Okay, if I could do anything on the planet, what would I want to do? And then I just went to work in terms of designing that. So number 2, I said, what am I prepared to do to get that? So for me, before I got to this, like I said, 92 kilos, 22 kilos overweight, not really doing too much with my life. So I had to make some big changes. What was I prepared to do? Man, I was prepared to do anything, and that's my big question for you. What are you prepared to do? I talked about it at the info nights, and I talk about it a lot of the time. What are you prepared to do in order to get your ultimate life or your ultimate goal? So remember, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create habits, we're trying to create philosophies around the lifestyle that you want, and you've got to fit training into here, you've got to fit family into here, we're going to fit your work situation. But if you could make a change and it was ideal, we need a benchmark or we need a measurement to determine exactly, hey, how am I going and am I on track? and what do I need to do? What's the little steps I need to do to get me closer to that? If you know exactly what you're looking at every single day and you're not quite there yet, it helps to keep you in the game a lot longer. And that's maybe some of the magical moments that we don't ever get a chance to talk about, or maybe I don't get too much time to talk to specifically to you about, but that's those magical wins that kept me in the game, and I want them to keep you in the game. Is if you can look at this every day, and we're going to talk about that, but if you can design it, you can look at it, and you can do that every single day, I promise you it'll keep you in the game longer, particularly if you're struggling. All right, so what are you prepared to give? Man, you have to give everything. If you want it that bad enough, if you've designed your ultimate life, if you go, that's exactly what I want to wake up at this time, I want to do this, I want to feel like this, I want to hang out with these people, and then when I get on the weekend, hey, I'm not singing Thank God It's Friday anymore. Or maybe you're like, hey, I'm just appreciative every single day I can make my own choices. So, hey, what does this have to do with fitness? This has everything to do with fitness. Because what you do in here is what you're going to do out there. So remember that. Everything that you do, we're all connected. It's all connected. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if I can get you to move better, if I can get you to eat better, think better, overall, and you can push to 100% in here, it's going to translate out to here. And I've seen that time and time again. All right, number 3. So we need to establish a definitive date. We talked about that. So here is my plan in terms of what I'm doing. My definitive date. Some of you will be 8 weeks. Hopefully you can read that. Some of you will be 8 weeks. Some of you will be longer. Maybe have a wedding coming up. Maybe have an event coming up. Hey, there's a lot of different things that we can put on that timeline. Remember, we talked about short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. So short-term might be 8 weeks, mid-term might be a year, long-term might be 5 to 10 years. You got to map that out. What does that look like? If you've never done it before, it doesn't have to be done overnight, and spend some time on it and keep adding to it daily all the time. All right, so number 4. So we have a clear plan, and you need to start whether you're ready or not. So remember, what's our clear plan? So obviously if you're training in our system, we know, look, ideally, if this was the week, you want to map that out. If you guys have Google Calendar, you can map that out in Google Calendar. If you guys just want to do it on a diary or whatever it is, what I will do with my specific calendar so I can get that freedom is I go, hey, I'm training 6:30. I know I'm going to do that 5 days a week. So I'm going to train 5 days a week. That's my base. For those of you, specifically you, if you're sitting there going, hey, I'm just starting out, I don't know if I can do 5 days. Remember we talked about 2 cardio, 2 resistance. So that would be like a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So we got 45 minutes there. So ideally our target overall is to be 6 to 7 hours throughout the week. 6 to 7 hours is a target to be at least active. And you can do that in many different ways. If you're in our system, I like to start with the base. 2 cardio, 2 resistance. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So I put 100% into those sessions. Then I go, hey man, at the end of Tuesday, how am I feeling? So my plan for your plan and what you guys are doing, you've got all your meal plans and you're sticking that to a T. And if you need help with that, please come and chat with me or send us an email. But Wednesday, you're going to go, all right, Monday, Tuesday, all right, Wednesday. At the end of Tuesday's session for that day, how are you feeling? Do you have enough energy? Are you feeling like you could go again? Or are you feeling really exhausted, really lethargic, really, really tired and you can't concentrate? Those are going to determine whether or not Wednesday is a rest day or whether or not you train on Wednesday as well. So if you can pass those parameters, hey, I trained really good today. Body feels really good. Hey, appetite's good. I'm thinking really well. I'm getting up. I'm full of energy. Then we can go tick. And then, so this is what I do on a daily basis to determine, hey, do I keep training or when's a good time to pull back? This is part of the plan in much greater detail. Tick, Tuesday, same thing, resistance-based session. All right, it's not intense in terms of cardiovascular, but overall, can I perform at an optimal level? Was my rep range good? Did I feel like I had plenty of strength and could I have done more? So if you could have done more, it could have been 2 things. 1, we didn't go strong enough, or 2, you're feeling really good. Tick. When you get to Wednesday, you go, hey, am I feeling really good or am I really lethargic? Am I dead tired? Am I just absolutely exhausted? So I would just determine on a Wednesday, do I need to have a rest or can I keep going? Those are the determining factors. If you're good to go, tick. Thursday, same thing, every day. And I do this every single week. So that's my rolling plan. I have a full plan for, remember, discipline equals freedom. Every week I know exactly what I'm doing. I know when my training's planned, my food's planned. Not everyone is going to be that crazy, but just doing it in a simple format is going to get you some big wins over time. All right, so Thursday, Friday is exactly the same. Now, on some cases, depending on your level, depending on your goals, depending on what you're doing, some days I like to do a morning session here. So I'll do a resistance-based session. I'll do another resistance here. Remember, get your base sessions right first before you start adding extra sessions. You don't have to do extra sessions. But for those of you that want to, that maybe can't make it on the weekend, or maybe you're like, hey, I'm only here for 4 days, I want to get 6 sessions in because that's what I usually do, I'm away for the weekend. Hey, your plan would be, hey, possibly you could do a double Tuesday, a double Thursday, so you got 4 sessions, 5, 6 sessions, and then you have 3 days rest. So everyone's going to be different, and it's trial and error depending on how your body feels at any given moment, depending before you get to that session. So I like to, some days I'll do a double Tuesday, same precursor. How do I feel Wednesday? If I'm not feeling great in the morning, how am I feeling? Would I switch to the night instead? Aim to get that extra recovery before I train here. At the same time, I'm fueling well here. I'm fueling well. Remember, you're getting that extra fuel in if you've done that double session. So that's a third snack option, or maybe an extra meal of around 300 to 500 calories. Particularly if you're doing this extra session to still maintain that energy balance. Because remember, if you're sitting at a female 1,300 calories and a male at 1,900 calories, and you're already, that's the meal plan, if you're already at a deficit, we're going to lose energy, or we're going to have energy expenditure here. So we're going to minus that. We're already going to be at a loss. Hopefully you've done your snack top-up options to keep you within an energy balance of that, so you're not too lethargic. And then we train here again. So whatever was left, whatever our number was, we minus that, and then that's what is left. So sometimes it's okay, you can do it. Some people call it shocking the body, or just mixing things up, which is always good. But overall, just making sure we're not so much at a deficit. It works for some people, it doesn't work for everyone. I'm a big fan of move more, eat more, so I like to fuel really well. So keep that into consideration with your plan, particularly depending on how you're training in our system or training in general. All right, moving across. So, like I said, the clear statement. So, I've designed the life that I want. I've designed the training behind. Remember, this is about keeping you in the game longer, and this is about keeping you motivated on a day-to-day basis, more than just training. Because a lot of people can train. A lot of people know exactly what they need to eat. A lot of people know that they need to turn up. But for most of you, and particularly, the big thing is how do you string that over time? And this is what has got me and kept me in the game longer every single day, even when I didn't want to go, is because this is what I was working towards. You can't get there overnight, by the way, but you can start overnight. And that's what I had to learn, is that's what I was playing for. It took me a long time to get to here, but I didn't quit, and I refused for my life to be how it was. And if that's where you are, and if that's where you're sitting and you're like, this is it for me. This is the last goddamn time that I'm going to sit there. I'm going to feel like I can't go out. This is the last goddamn time that I'm going to look at myself like that. Those are all important things. If you're ready to make that change, we can do that. And it starts with designing that life. So your why, that was my why. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Man, life is not supposed to be like this. And I wrote it down, you can flick this piece of paper over and then start writing it down. Hey, this is the last goddamn time I'll look at myself like this. I will never, ever, ever go back. And I'll always turn up, I'll always be my best. And one day, I'm going to walk into the room and I'm going to feel my absolute best. And then you just keep writing that down. And I write that down all the time. There's so many things going on around us on a day-to-day basis. The people that we hang around, there's a lot of people that don't want you to succeed. There's a lot of people that have problems with you succeeding. I know what that's like firsthand. From being nobody to freaking being, a high school dropout, to maybe people used to maybe sympathize, or maybe they felt sorry and they maybe were there, to then the more successful we got, hey, nobody was there. It's a really interesting thing. So for you, knowing that and knowing that things like that's going to happen and that's part of life, overall, man, you got to keep yourself in the game longer because no one else is going to do it. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to want you to fail, and two, maybe they're going to justify their position to make themselves feel better. So for you, Mental Factory, we need to be focusing on, hey, what are we doing? What are we working on day to day? And why are you doing it? That's the big thing. Why are we doing it? All right, so from there, what we're going to do is we're going to move across for that last one. So look, the big one that I talked about, which is write it down every day. So this is how I would do it if you have a diary. So hopefully you've written that down. Hopefully you can see all of that. And take massive action. So I'm just going to rub this out. Hopefully you can see it. So I have my planner or my daily planner. So basically I've got 2 pages, one here. And these are like my things that I do every day, and I string these wins. And this is the big thing that helps me. So I read it every day and I take massive action every day. So I have everything that I'm doing for the day. I've structured it out. And then down the bottom here, I have 3 morning gratitudes. So look, I was listening to something yesterday. There was a study done that there was a closed group of the same people that had a lot of depression or had a lot of particular issues in terms of with motivation and I think it was particularly depression and taking medication. There was a direct correlation between people writing down 3 gratitudes at night and people on pills and medication. And for a very vast majority of the group, there was this very, very similar in terms of response from the medication for one closed group, and 2, there was another closed group that just wrote down 3 daily gratitudes. So there was a direct correlation between they both felt the same sense of relief or in terms of joy or ease, one from the medication, one from the daily gratitudes. So that's what I do every single day is I read it every day and I take massive action every day. So I have 3 morning gratitudes in the morning. I have 3 at night. And you don't have to do this, like I said, but if you want to, this has served me really well, like as a full-blown bearded male. I'll be honest with you, this is hands down something that anyone that tells you that they can't do this or they wouldn't do it, I tell you what, that's freaking as manly as hell. That's as manly as you can get. When you go, you know what, I'm freaking grateful for having the opportunity to train each and every one of you. Hey, anytime we do a good session, anytime I help you, I'm going to write that down because that helps me stay in the game as your coach. That helps me stay in the game as an individual. Every time that you train, particularly if you do this, I promise you, hey, what are you grateful for this morning? Hey, I was grateful that I turned up to my session. Hey, I was grateful that I had an awesome culture where people had my back. Hey, I am more positive, or I am moving in the direction of where I want to be. I promise you, write that down every day. You're going to be more positive. You're going to stay in the game way longer. So I do that morning and night. I talked about some of these habits, which I'll go through as well. But look, I read this every day. So with my goals, so all my goals, when I defined exactly what I wanted, I have my goals at the top. I have like a paragraph here, and then I have like some more goals down here. I look at wins for the day as well, is really important. So I have my gratitude here. I've got my gratitude. I have goals here. I've got goals. I have wins. And I have more space for goals. So I write them down in the morning and I write them down at night. Remember, anytime I get a loss, anytime I'm feeling down, anytime things aren't going my way, I'm going to write them down again. 3 morning gratitudes, 3 night gratitudes, and then I'm going to write down my wins for the day. I do this on a day-to-day basis. I don't really tell too many people about this, but I'm going to tell you because I want you to win as much as I can win. I want you to feel the way that I feel every single day. So this is what I do on a day-to-day basis. It served me so well. It served me so well. One of the other things that we have here is I work on the power of 3. So this translates outside of the gym as well, but even in your health and fitness journey, the power of 3 works really good. So the power of 3 is just basically, instead of focusing or trying to change or do 300 things on your to-do list and then never get anything done, I try and do less, and I want you guys to do less. So for you to be like, hey, I trained really good. Hey, I ate my meals, and maybe I slept, or I've had my water, or just do 3. Don't try and do them all straight away. Try and take on too many things, you'll never get it done, and then you'll end up getting less motivated and deflated because you think you lost. The power of 3. Translate that outside into the real world. Do it today at work or do it today at home. What do I need to do? What's my 3 most important things? And then what I want you to do is assign these 3 things to that very same weekly map that I showed you. What are the 3 things that I need to do today that's going to ultimately push me further to my Monday to Sunday, or what I call the ultimate life? I do this on a daily basis, every single day without fail. Discipline equals freedom. It took me a long time to get this right, and I've been fortunate enough to learn from some great people, but the best thing for me is this has been something that's been developing over a number of years, and now it's time that I pass that on for each and every one of you. If you can get this right for yourself, and you can, even if you only got half of that, I promise you it's gonna transform your life. It's gonna make such a difference. So that's what I do in terms of my 6 steps in a much lengthier, detailed process. In terms of my habit rituals, how do I bring them into the week and how do I structure them in? Remember? So number 1, I talked about beating the sun up. So, I mean, the sun, depending on the day, might be up at 5:40, depending on when it is. Look, I try and get up at 5 a.m. or if we're here earlier, I'm up at 4. So I'm either up at 4 a.m. every day or I'm up at 4:55 every day. 7 days a week, beat the sun up. As soon as I do that, man, I go straight to my goals. The first 15 minutes from when you wake up is when your mind is the most impressionable. So you want to set the tone for the day. You want to set the intensity. You want to set your intention. Beat the sun up, number 1, and go straight to the goals. So it's hard. We're going to go straight to our phone. We're going to check social media. Hey, we're going to lie there. You're setting that intensity. You're setting that tone for the day. So beat the sun up, number 1. I go straight to my goals. I write my goals down. That's when my mind's most impressionable. That's going to set the tone for the day. And then boom, I go straight into training. Straight into training. So I'm working on the mind. I'm working on myself. That first morning slot for me, I'm setting the rest of the day up. And I string those wins up every single day, and that's what keeps me on fire. That's what keeps me with so much energy, is I just keep stacking all this positivity. I keep stacking wins, and I keep ticking things off, and the next thing moves to the next. Pretty soon, from where I was 7 years on the sidelines of life, now I'm hopefully have a few more choices. I'm feeling good about myself. If I can do it, you can do it. All right, so how bad do you want it? We said it in terms of what are you prepared to do? Man, it's a do or die, so there's no option for me. It's I will, I must, and I made a promise to myself. So short-term, mid-term, long-term goals, if you remember. Short-term, hey, what's my week? What's my month? Mid-term, hey, what's my 6? What's my year? Where I want to be? Then I go, hey, maybe I've got 2-year, 3-year, or 5, 10, 20, 30, if you want to look that far ahead. And maybe you've never done it and you're like, there's no point in looking that far ahead. It'll be here before you know it. If you've never gone, holy crap, if I don't stop for 2 seconds and map out where I'm going, let me tell you where you're going to end up. Wherever the hell somebody else has planned for you. Because if you don't plan for it, you're always going to end up in somebody else's plan. All right, so I talked about the power of 3. That's one of my daily habits as well, my action list. Every time I tick that off as well, I get a win. I get that nice little shot of endorphins. Boom. I get a little win there, so it's good. And then I write my goals down, as I said, morning and night. That's my daily habit rituals. And then this is the big one, is don't get stuck. Don't get stuck in the idea. Just go straight to action. So if you go, I think I'm feeling really good, I should train. Boom. Freaking get in the car, get the keys, and go straight to training. Or you're like, hey, I've got this really great idea. I want to do this. Take action on that straight away. Just take action. I should call this person. Hey, I should be doing this. If you get stuck on the idea, where most people do, you're going to talk yourself out of it. That comes into training. That comes into food. That also works on the other side as well, which is basically if you get stuck on the idea that, hey, you should go out partying, you should have cake, look, all of these things, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do whatever you want. It's not my place to tell you what you should do. It's not my place to tell you who you should hang out with, what kind of culture and lifestyle you want to lead. But all I can say is if you want certain results in life, if you want certain things in life, there's at some point you're going to have to make a decision. What lifestyle do you want to live? What does that look like for you? How does that fit into a 7-day plan? How does it look like to a 6-month or a 12-month? What are you going to do on a daily basis? How do you want to feel? How do you want your life to play out? So if you don't ask yourself these questions, if you don't do something different than what you've always done, you're always going to get exactly the same results. So that is what I do on a daily basis. These are the little wins that I keep stacking, and this is in much greater detail as well. I hope that's been useful for you. I hope if you have any questions, please comment below or email me or see me in the studio if you need to. We're here to help. I promise you, you start putting these wins in to your life day by day by day, bit by bit. I promise you, discipline will be a force in your life, and discipline equals freedom. All right, so Coach Bailey out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, discipline equals freedom. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's get these wins and let's do this. And don't forget, remember to back yourself, all in, commit, no matter what, every single day until you get it.